Hey y'all, what's up? I'm your girl Megan. Welcome back to my channel. If you're already a subscriber, but if you're not, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. So, I am here tonight to talk about how you perceived your mother based on your moon sign. So, in astrology, your moon sign represents your emotions, the femininity, your yin realm, the right side of the mind, as well as your relationship with your mother, the things that make you comfortable, what nurtures you. In astrology, the moon is always going to be correlated with very like maternal kind of concepts, if not the mother herself. I might not get through all signs, so let's just make this part one. So let's start with Aries, okay? Those who have an Aries moon, it's likely that you perceived your mother as a very aggressive type of woman growing up. Even if you come from a two-parent household, it's likely that you viewed your mother as the person who wore the pants in the relationship, the more dominant one, the more maybe even controlling, more or less. Um, a lot of times these mothers are very active in their children's lives. So this, depending on how it's aspected, this could be a placement for certain stage moms. Because at the very worst, this could. Is my phone going off, dog? My bad, my phone's going off. But at the very worst, this could manifest as a mother who knows no boundaries, who doesn't know boundaries, who literally exerts and forces her will and her thoughts and opinions and her presence on her children. Now, on the more positive side, or if not negatively aspected, these mothers can simply be that type of presence to encourage their children to go out and be aggressive in whatever it is that they want to do and achieving what they want to do. Okay, and they set this type of example for their kids. Also negatively aspected by like Pluto or Saturn or any type of malefic planet. This could indicate an abusive mother, whether it be verbally, physically, mentally. This Aries energy is also very impulsive, which could indicate that you view your mom as just like a straight shooter. One of those moms, shoot straight from the hip, tell you the truth. That type of mom, you might not even really feel comfortable bringing all your friends around. Like, bitch, if you sensitive, don't come up in this house, girl. Because my mom's going to give you the tea, girl. And then our friendship's going to be kind of funny. And then I'm going to be feeling like a little awkward here. Like, you got one of those moms. Those moms who definitely keep it real with you. And, yeah. I mean, I think that's dope, personally. You know. So that's Aries. If you have a Virgo moon, it's likely that you had a mother or you perceived your mother growing up to be somebody who was very type A. Or maybe not even just type A, but just very organized, very practical, very dependable. These were moms who took care of you very well. They met your basic needs very well, but they weren't really as concerned with nurturing you creatively, right? They were just focused on, okay, did you get good grades? Did you do your homework? Did you clean your room? These are very organized, that because Virgo rules the sixth house, and the sixth house represents day-to-day activities as well as routine, health, and things of that nature. So these type of moms are the moms who could be like very much so OCD, like you grew up with your mother having the house a certain way. She liked the house cleaned a certain way. She wanted you to wash the dishes, or even if she wasn't a neat freak, she wanted you to do specific things, that she had very clear standards, very clear expectations that your ass better meet, or that's your ass, no matter how irrational it might seem to you. So, and these mothers also, because Virgo is governed by Mercury, and Mercury being the planet of intellect and communication, these mothers I find tend to love to write lists and write shit down. These moms have, like, they sit down and write to-do lists, and they're very organized, very detail oriented, very methodical in the way that they run their household. Okay, these are the moms who will not go grocery shopping without a list. You like, mom, why do we really need write it, put it on the list. When you get to the grocery store, if it ain't on the list, she ain't buying it. Put it back. Hit you with that. You know, especially black moms. When we hit you with that AHT, put that shit the fuck first. That's the Virgo moon, mom. These moms could also be very hypochondriacs. That's the word I'm looking for. They could be hypochondriacs because Virgo is also associated with health. These mothers could be very mistrusting of other people, paranoid, and negatively aspected. They could also have very, I guess you could say, certain nervous disorders, anxiety. They're prone to anxiety, a lot of nervous tension. It's possible that your mother could have been a teacher, maybe. She a hoarder of data, a hoarder of knowledge. So whether they're teachers, any type of being or figure in the community. I also find a lot of people with Virgo moons have mothers who are in the health field as well, whether it be for the Red Cross, for nurses, doctors, things of that nature, because Virgo is also the sign of service. Any type of philanthropic or job that requires you to kind of sacrifice yourself on the front lines. Virgo's also, well, maybe not the front lines, because Virgo likes to work behind the scenes. So those type of jobs, I find a lot of people with Virgo moons, their mothers have had. And yeah, so moving right along to, let's do Pisces moon. A lot of people with Pisces moons, I find, have very like polarizing relationships with their mothers. So it's either really, really good or really, really bad. And it's very intense, usually. And a lot of times, these people with Pisces moon have mothers who are victims of some shape, form, and fashion, whether it be them being victims of abuse, any sort of abuse, or their mothers abusing drugs, alcohol, substances. There seems to be a certain type of energy at play to where you viewed your mother as emotionally kind of just hard to reach, unavailable in a sense. A lot of times, these people, I also notice personally from personal experience, people who have Pisces moon tend to have very religious mothers because of that Jupiter influence. Pisces is co-ruled by Jupiter, and it's the same similar energy to Sagittarius because Sagittarius is also ruled by Jupiter. But like I said, from personal experience, I tend to find that people with Sagittarius moons or that Sagittarius kind of energy is more so spiritual than religious. And of course, there are exceptions to every rule, but personally, almost every person I know with a Pisces moon has a mother or comes from a background with a very deep rooted religious kind of beliefs. It's not uncommon for these people to have kind of lower self esteem earlier in life. And a lot of times this comes from their interactions with their mother and the elusiveness that that she showed, you know, her inability to really pour into them and give them that type of emotional nurturing that they needed. So, and even if you did have like a good mom or a good relationship with your mom, there's a lot of, you watched her go through a lot of emotional ups and downs, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Leo moon. People, if you have a Leo moon, it goes one or two ways, right? Well, yeah, it goes one or two ways. You had a mother who, A, raised you as a single parent, because from personal experience, this is what I find. So her attitude and her the way she treated you, it was like she literally the stereotype of like, oh, I had to be mother and father to my children. You viewed your mother as literally the man in your life and the woman in your life, because her presence was that strong, and it was almost like she had to overcompensate for a male not being in the picture. Or two, if you did grow up in a two-parent household, you grew up with a mother, or it's likely you perceived your mother to be like a playmate, an additional playmate. Some people with Leo Moon, regardless, even if they do have a single mother, regardless of the circumstance, view their mothers as like siblings. Kind of similar, kind of in a way to Gemini, a little bit, but not quite. Because these moms, Leo Moon moms, tend to uh, live vicariously through their children, because it's not uncommon for if you're a Leo Moon, your mom to be interested in the arts, or maybe at some point in life, maybe she had a dream, a goal that maybe she never really obtained herself, and she kind of lives vicariously through you. And that's kind of more on the shadowy negative side. But on the positive side, this could be the mom who just really encourages you and your creativity. She encourages you in your endeavors. Like, let's say you like to dance, right? She's that mom at the cookout that be talking to all the aunties like, oh, do that dance, Shine, do that dance. Watch him. He gonna do what? Now watch me. Nah. Look, I told you he good. I told you he good, girl. I told you. That's the Leo mom. She would cheer you on front row. Egg you on with your shit. That's that Leo mom. And a lot of times it's likely you viewed her as just a fun, bright, over the top person. Now Leo is governed by the sun. The sun is the center of our universe. So likewise, it's also common for people with this placement to view their mothers as dramatic, over dramatic, drama. Like whatever emotion she's feeling, she add a little extra yang around it, like extra. Like, mama, you're doing entirely too much, a little bit too much, mom. They can get a little aggressive or a little bit territorial, especially when it comes to you. So that's another thing I noticed. A lot of Leo moons have very territorial mothers, very overprotective mothers who don't like to have their boundaries in protruded on, if that's how you say that. Let's see. Cancer moon. You have a Cancer moon, it's likely that you viewed your mother. First of all, people with Cancer moons, from my personal observation, always have very, very deep connections with their mothers, okay? And in men, these are the quintessential mama's boys. And if negatively aspected or on the negative side, depending on the guy and what else is going on in his chart, this could be a man who it'll present a problem for him later on when he gets a wife, because he can't really choose his family first, because he's always joint at the hip sucking on his mama titty. It's a problem. As women, it's a little better, but all in all, this creates somebody who just has a very, very deep, especially emotional connection with their mother. It's likely that you viewed your mother growing up as like the Susie homemaker, the housewife. Even if your mother had a job and didn't stay home all day, she found a lot of joy and took a lot of pride in nurturing you in like the stereotypical way, cooking for you, cleaning for you. She babied you, that hovering, you might even viewed her as like hovering, smothering kind of mother that always wanted to kind of like hold your hand through things and be with you. These moms make great cooks, okay? Because Cancer and Taurus got the food game on lock, okay? that strong feminine energy, they would have you eating good in the neighborhood. So your mom was probably a great cook, or at least you viewed her that way, or at the very least, she's your fortress. She's somebody that you can always run to, unless negatively aspected and afflicted. If it's afflicted, your mom, you could kind of view your mom as like just emotionally too much. Like I said, smothering, moody, temperamental, fussy, and just very just crabby and picky all the time, and manipulative. Very manipulative. Cancer moon mothers can be very manipulative. But if it's not negatively aspected, for the most part here, I see people with Cancer moons have very, very close and deep lifetime bonds with their mothers. So that's pretty good. Um, Sagittarius moon. People with Sagittarius moons, I find, as I stated earlier, tend to have very religious slash spiritual, maybe spiritual type of mothers that come from that background, and they're very worldly. These mothers have a lot of worldly knowledge and like to nurture their children by way of giving advice. So as a result, I don't know if if you're a Sagittarius moon, if you perceived your mother as the warmest when you were a small child, because typically Sagittarius moon children, their mothers aren't the greatest with them as small children, because as a child you can only understand and reason but so much. But as you grow up and they're able to talk to you and share different ideologies and philosophies, what the fuck is wrong with me? I'm drinking, y'all, excuse me. Philosophies with you, different sharing advice and imparting wisdom, right, and ideas on you or until you, that's her bag. That's how she gets in her bag. That's how she can bond and connect and relate with you. And a lot of times these moms also travel a lot, I see, with this placement. So if you have a Sagittarius moon, it's also likely that your mom picked you up at some point in your life and relocated y'all, whether it be y'all moved from your hometown to like somewhere across the country, out of the country, whether your mom remarried or something like that and you guys up and left, or maybe your mom was just the type to travel a lot and she really liked to be here, there, and everywhere, and just kind of took you along for the ride. Similar to Gemini moon, Sagittarius moon typically viewed their mothers as people who just had a lot going on, and depending on how it's aspected, they could, or you could have found it difficult to kind of pinpoint and like keep up with her because she just had so much going on all the time. Also, because Sagittarius moon, like mothers, tend to have so much knowledge, so much wisdom, and they're always giving advice, always putting in their 2 cents. It's not uncommon for you to probably have viewed your mom as a hypocrite, because that's that Sagittarius energy, holding others to a higher standard or a different standard than we hold ourselves. So, you might have had a mom who drank like a motherfucking fish, but told you what to do and what not to do and what to put in your body and what not to put in your body. You had a mom who very much governed the household with do as I say and not as I do. Gemini moon. Your Gemini moon, it's likely that you have a mother with a lot of that type of mental energy going on. Very similar to Virgo, because Virgo is also ruled by the planet Mercury, which governs intellect. So a lot of times people with these placements tend, if it's negatively aspected, this is the person who has a mother with mental issues. Or you could have perceived your mother to be very drastic mood swings, like very mentally unstable. It's likely your mother could have had bipolar disorder. I personally have bipolar disorder. My daughter is a Gemini moon. So, like, a lot of times children with this placement could grow up to kind of just see the different polarities in the way that their mother acted, you know. Um, Also, Gemini is the sign of youth. So a lot of times people with Gemini moons tend to have very youthful mothers, or even just you, either they're youthful looking, they look young, you know, one of those moms that you bring to the you know, come to school to pick you up, and all the boys is like, who, hey Miss Parker, like one of those mothers. Or the mother who is just so free spirited, fun loving, and like she acts young. Maybe she had you at a young age. It's not uncommon for a lot of people with Gemini moon placements to have parents or have a mother who had them earlier on in life. Once again, that Gemini being the sign of youth, I find also that it's common for people with this placement to have mothers who probably even had them before they were ready to have children. And this could create an issue depending on what else is going on in the chart and how this moon is aspected, with the mother not really acting like a mom, to the point where it's a problem and the child kind of feels like they're, you know, they were neglected, or their childhood is lacking due to that, or because the mother had other places she would rather be and other things she would rather do than to be in the moment and be a parent. A lot of times, Gemini moon, it's likely that you viewed your mother as a very intelligent woman, very intelligent, even if it's not institutionally intelligent, like, oh, she got her PhD and she, you know, she's the surgeon. This is a woman, your mother had a lot of knowledge on different things, and you know, you enjoyed hearing her views on different things, kind of similar to the that Sagittarius energy there, because they're opposite signs, but they act very similar. So, you know, a mom who has different philosophies and ideologies and worldviews, and she shares these things to you, and she encourages communication. And it's 9 times out of 10, Gemini moons, you viewed your mom as somebody who really encouraged you to communicate growing up. Or, I mean, it could go two ways. She could be the type to really encourage you to communicate growing up, or the type that didn't communicate with you at all, or kind of deceived you in a way. And it made you guarded and about the way that you communicate with people. But either way it goes, these people tend to have mothers who, like at a very young age, emphasize, okay, the importance of reading, talking, writing. And as a result, that's why your mind is so quick, and you pick up on things so easily, and you're able to just intellectualize and conceptualize different concepts so quick. Maybe your mother was a teacher. Maybe your mother was a writer. Maybe your mother, uh, she just enjoys reading in her pastime. She enjoys uh, just partaking in knowledge. And she has a lot of different interests. And she's just this over the top, like, interesting character. You probably viewed her as growing up. Like, just always busy, always doing stuff, always into something. And this could have been, she could have been a more balanced, more evolved Gemini moon mom, and the fact that, like, she did all of these things and still managed to nurture you, you know, properly. Or maybe, like I said before, she was doing all these things and was so caught up in her bag and her life and everything she had going on, that maybe you perceived her as being manipulative or neglectful or not having time for you. So I think that concludes my first. This is part one of how you perceived your mother based on your moon sign. Drop a comment down below. Let me know how, you know, did I miss something, or, you know, any suggestions. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this one. And as always, remember to practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, peace out.